Hey, it's Lee for On Your Marks Wrestling, and I'm here with a Raw review for April 2nd. We start the show with Jonathan Coachman in the ring. He's got 4 chairs around him. He invites Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Kurt Angle, and Ronda Rousey out for a kind of discussion. It's pretty kind of typical stuff, exactly what you'd expect. The McMahons / Triple H say that Kurt cost them a bunch of money and cost Rousey a lot of money. At one point, Stephanie basically makes fun of Rousey for saying that she was suicidal after her loss. Did not like that too much. Then Ronda kind of delivered a line poorly, but it was a really good line, so it doesn't really matter, where she basically asked Stephanie which hand if she's a righty or a lefty. Stephanie says she's a righty. She's like, cool, that's good to know, because I need you to still be able to write my checks after I rip out your arm. So I guess she's going to target the left arm. At the end of the segment, they're trying to do a pose-off, and they said they're going to do it classy and not do it like the UFC where there's always a fight that breaks out. So sure enough, a fight breaks out. Triple H hits Angle in the back of the head with a mic. Rousey grabs Triple H by the throat, and he sells it like crazy. But then Stephanie essentially chokeslams or throws Rousey through a table, and so she stands tall, basically trying to give her a little bit of credibility before they go into a match where Rousey should theoretically win very easily. Next, we have a match between Bayley and Sonya Deville. This is actually a pretty good match. There's not as much cheating as you would expect for an Absolution match. Deville's holding her own throughout. Bayley does eventually get a cradle for the pin. As soon as she wins, Mandy Rose jumps in and attacks Bayley, so then Absolution kind of take on and just basically start attacking Bayley. Sasha Banks runs in for the save. Then Banks tells Bayley to raise her arm because she helped her out. And Bayley says, I'm not doing that. And Sasha Banks puts her hand on Bayley, and Bayley loses it, and they get into a scuffle. Because of that scuffle, Absolution can attack them, and they kind of get the upper hand. Then we get a video package for Asuka. I don't usually write these things down when it's WrestleMania preview stuff. They just put so many. There's like, this whole show is almost commercials for WrestleMania. But this was pretty well done. Plus, it had a woman doing the voiceover, which was cool. That doesn't really happen often, at least as far as I can tell. I thought it worked out. It was pretty good. Then they kind of acknowledged that Miz and Maurice had their baby last week. Then we get a Finn Balor-Seth Rollins match with Miz on commentary, so you wouldn't expect Miz to be there, but he is. There's really nice chain wrestling at the beginning of the match. This was probably the high point of the show, in my opinion. Miz talks fatherhood. He kind of acts as a changed man. He's not going full face, but he was just kind of playing up the I'm a father now, things have changed. He's talking up the other 2 opponents. Again, this was a really, really good match. Super evenly matched. You get a recreation of the last time these guys faced. So Rollins last time did a superplex off the top and then tried to do a Phoenix... is it Falcon Arrow? Sorry. And Balor countered with a cradle and won. So they did the exact same thing. And it almost looked like a 3 count, but they said it was a 2 3/4 count. So Rollins did not lose. So Rollins actually hits Balor with his knee. And he gets a near fall out of that. Then Rollins tries a frog splash, which Balor counters with his knees up and just kind of rolls him over. And he gets a near fall. Then Rollins teases a buckle bomb into the guardrail, which is exactly how Balor injured himself when he first won the Universal Championship. But Balor fights his way out of it. Balor misses a coup de grace. Rollins misses a curb stomp, but eventually manages a curb stomp and gets the win. Really, really good match. Went through 2 commercials, so it went pretty long. Crowd was into it all the way through. Got better and better as it went along. Can't complain about this match. Really good stuff. Then you have a backstage thing where Angle walks up to Heyman, who's on the phone. He asks Heyman not to try to rile Reigns up. He doesn't want any kind of preview of the match. He doesn't want to ruin the WrestleMania match. Heyman laughs and says, like, because Angle kind of made it sound like he was worried about Lesnar's health or Lesnar's well-being. And Heyman laughs and he says, like, Lesnar should be the one who's... Reigns should be the one who's worried. So the Bar comes out and they say they're going to beat Strowman because Strowman's not able to be in a team. Strowman comes out and he says he's going to let them know who his partner is as long as they agree to a match with him. So they agree to the match. He goes to the back to get his partner. His partner comes out and he's exactly Braun Strowman, but with a nerd outfit on. Calls himself Brain Strowman. He goes into the ring, kind of gets the best of the Bar, and they run away. So we still don't know who Braun Strowman's partner is. Then we get an old school Goldust promo where he talks about the Princess Bride featuring Andre the Giant, and he just talks about winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Then Matt Hardy also cuts a promo about the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and he also mentions that he's going to have a match with Goldust tonight. We go to commercial, and then we get that match. At the very beginning, Hardy works the crowd, and the crowd is kind of eating out of the palm of his hands, which is cool. Hardy, it's not a very long match. He eventually wins. Then he goes up to the Andre the Giant Battle Royal trophy, and he basically starts screaming, "Procure" to it while touching it. It was weird, but whatever. Then there's a cell phone promo, and I don't usually mention these, but this one was kind of really bad. It's with Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, and they're making fat jokes about Nia Jax. This is just too easy, kind of gross. I don't know. I just don't like it, and I'm not usually one of these super sensitive people. I'm a large person. I've been called fat, and I don't care. I call myself fat too. But I just don't like it when it's someone who's in wrestling and they have this anti-bullying campaign and all this stuff. And I get it. They're making them the bad guys and bad people. Bullies are bad people, but I don't know if you need to go that route. Cena comes in and cuts his least obnoxious promo in a while, but it's still pretty obnoxious, especially at the end. He says like he doesn't want to take a spot away from all the full-timers, so instead he's going to probably ask for a 20-minute match with The Undertaker. It makes no sense at all. The logic is just gone. But the beginning of the promo was about as good as you can get for a babyface promo. It was pretty solid when he was talking about being a fan, and he just kind of acknowledged all the people that have had success this year. So that was okay. In the back again, Angle walks up to Roman Reigns and tells him about his conversation with Heyman. Reigns says that out of respect for Angle, remember this line, out of respect for Angle, he's going to try not to go out there. But if Heyman crosses the line, he will go out there. And then, after just saying he respects Angle, he says something about Angle pawning his gold medals off. So basically saying he kind of sold himself out. So clearly he doesn't respect Angle, and he will be coming out. Foreshadowing. Elias is in the ring, does his typical thing. He doesn't really get deep into it before... why did I forget his name? Heath Slater comes out, Slater comes out with Rhino. Rhino is wearing a I Walk with Slater shirt, which I thought was kind of neat. Slater starts the match out pretty well, but Elias gets a quick drift away on Slater and wins the match. There wasn't much to that, but excuse me, I guess you need some short matches. In the back, you see Strowman. He's approached by Kurt Hawkins, who has a Pick Me Braun shirt on. Braun asks him about his win-loss record, and Hawkins just kind of says, that's not important. This is my chance to break through. And then Braun throws him through a wall and says, that there was your breakthrough. It was pretty neat, actually. I kind of liked it. Then Nia has a sit down with Renee Young. She's a little bit robotic in her delivery, a little too rehearsed, but she basically says, I'm proud of who I am. I thought Alexa Bliss was someone else, but, she's she's not who I thought she was. And so Nia kind of does this whole building herself up kind of deal. And then she kind of turns angry and looks to the camera and tells Alexa that she's going to squash her like a bug. I thought this was well done. Nia did the "I'm almost in tears" thing really well. And the one thing like you get from that interview is just, you're like, Nia's super pretty, and it's hard to think of her as a victim because even though she's got a different body type, she's just ridiculously pretty. She's not a monster-looking person. She's big, but she's certainly not a monster-looking person. She's pretty gorgeous. So I don't know why, but that almost takes something away from her for me. I'm like, yes, can she please not be so attractive? That's horrible, but true. Alexa and Mickey have a match versus Dana Brooks and Asuka. The story of the match is basically that Asuka is not being tagged in. Dana Brooks is kind of getting a little bit of offense in, but eating a lot of offense as well. Eventually, Dana Brooks has some cool moves. It's just she's not that well-rounded. She has moments, but I don't know. She's kind of clumsy a little bit and sometimes a little slow. Eventually, Asuka gets in this match with really good fire. Mickie James does hit her with a good kick, but Asuka eventually regains her advantage, gets the Asuka lock on, wins the match. Bliss and James do attack Asuka and Brooks, get the upper hand on her. Then you hear Nia's music come on. Nia runs down to the ring, manages to catch Alexa Bliss, but Mickie James attacks her from the back. Bliss escapes, and then Nia destroys Mickie James, as she should. So that's fine. It's fine. This is a go-home show, so there's no real advancement of any stories almost. I should have gone back, with the obnoxious promo that Cena cut. He was basically goading the crowd into cheering on Undertaker. I should have mentioned this. I don't know why I skipped it. And the crowd does, but Undertaker doesn't come out. So that's why it was obnoxious. It was just like, So then we get another behind-the-scenes thing with Heyman and Angle. Again, backstage. Heyman says he's only going to go positive about Roman Reigns. So he's going to go negative. Heyman goes into the ring, kind of calls out Angle because there's a bunch of superstars on the ramp there to prevent Reigns from getting through to the ring. Heyman cuts a pretty good promo. Well, it's always a good promo. Nice and heated promo. Eventually leading to calling Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar's bitch, which is enough to get Reigns angry. Reigns comes out. The guys from the locker room are blocking the path. There's maybe a group of 12 guys. Reigns says, come on, are you going to protect this part-timer? Are you full-timers going to protect this part-timer? And they look at each other and they just kind of part ways for Reigns. It would have been better if Reigns made a stronger argument than just saying full-timers, part-timers. But whatever, it is what it is. Guys part ways. Reigns gets into the ring. He does a Superman punch to Brock. Then he cocks his wrist and does it again like 4 times in a row after Brock grabs a chair. Eventually Reigns does like a little pose to point at the Wrestlemania sign, and Brock just jumps up and does an F5 on Reigns, so still gets the upper hand at the end of the match. The cocking of the wrist, it's such a small thing, but it's so lame that I feel like it's a huge factor in why people hate Reigns. I really do. The cocking of the wrist before the Superman punch is just a next level lame move. And I wonder if it's the same as TJP's dab. If TJP never dabbed, I feel like TJP could have stayed face and could have kept his championship longer among the cruiserweights. Same thing with Reigns' cocking of the wrist. I feel like if he gets rid of that, people will want to cheer him more. He did get a few cheers in this thing, so I can't downplay that. Overall, this go-home show was a lot of nothing. No storylines really advanced. The only thing that was really good was the Rollins-Balor match. That was really next level good. A lot of the rest of the stuff was forgettable. If I have to give a number grade to this, I'm always pretty generous. I'm going to go 5.5 out of 10. It was okay. It was watchable, but it was just kind of forgettable. All right, thanks for watching this. I will have a SmackDown review for you tomorrow. Goodbye.